Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is George Achillea. I do a lot of Spurs vlogs and amongst other videos to do with football and vlogging. But obviously, as you know, the past 48 hours or so have been quite crazy in the UK. Now, obviously we have a worldwide pandemic of the coronavirus, and I just want to say straight away that I'm no medical expert. Don't take everything I say as given. Please go and educate yourselves. I'm going to leave links in the description down below to do with the coronavirus, how we can maybe prevent the spread, delay it, all sorts. I'm going to leave link to the NHS down below, so make sure to follow that and read up on it, as it is going to be very useful for the coming months. But today is just my opinion on how I think football content is going to be changing over the next few months and what kind of trends we can see from the clubs, from content creators, and from big companies like Sky and BT. So as you may be aware, the Premier League itself has been suspended until at least April 4th, and the EFL, I believe, until April 3rd. Now, a lot of scientists in the UK predicting that the peak is going to be around about April time for the spread of the flu. So I can't imagine that the games will be able to continue in April. We're looking at probably at least May or June, depending on how quickly we can prevent the spread or if a vaccine can be found. So I highly doubt that the games are going to be back in 3 weeks' time. But not only that, obviously all other major leagues across Europe and the world have suspended their tournaments, and other major events like the Grand Prix, NHL, NBA, a lot of other sports are now cancelling their events to try and prevent the spread through mass groups of people attending these events. What we'll also do is find out, I believe, on Tuesday on UEFA's decision as to what to do with the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Euros coming up that was supposed to start in June this summer. Now, to be honest with you, I think that the Euros are going to be next year. I think they're going to move it to the following June, as there's a lot of clashes with other games from the Premier League, etc. There will not be enough time to host a tournament before the start of the next season is supposed to begin in August. And with that, I also believe that they're going to cancel then the Champions League and the Europa League, because if the Premier League does continue again in April, May, June, you'd then also have to cram in the extra games for the Champions League and Europa League, as well as a tournament in the summer before we start again in August, which is just not doable at all. So I believe they'll cancel the Champions League and Europa League and then move the Euros to next year to accommodate for the time for the Premier League and other leagues to continue again in the summer. Now, this goes into the options that the Premier League have, and I believe there are 4 of them. The first one being that the games will continue and they'll play the rest out probably in May or June, as like I said, I don't think they're going to start again in April, which means they will have to cancel and move the Euros and other competitions so that the Premier League can be finished in time for the new one to start in August. The second option is for the whole league to be null and void, which means that Liverpool won't win the league, and I know a lot of fans in the world would like to see that happen, apart from the Liverpool fans. And then that also means that teams won't get relegated or teams won't get promoted from the Championship and working our way down the tables. And as you can imagine, Spurs, West Ham, and I believe Arsenal are all for this idea, and I believe obviously Villa and Norwich would be as well, because then that means that they don't get relegated and we don't lose out on the places we already have. Yeah, it's not looking like we were getting Champions League this year, so I think Daniel Levy will be very happy with that outcome if that was the case. Now, the third option is that they take the positions as they are. Now, the problem with this is there's a lot of negatives to this. Obviously, I know Liverpool are 25 points ahead or so. They're walking the league this year, but obviously they mathematically haven't won the league, so it's a bit unfair to say that they would win instantly. But the more important thing, not just them winning it, the most important thing is to do with the relegation battle and the places for Champions League and Europa League. Because right now, this is the closest the league has been for those 2 areas in a very long time. You have about 7 or 8 teams competing for the Champions League spots, given the fact that it's looking like Man City won't be able to participate in the competitions next year. And then that also has a knock-on effect to the likes of Sheffield, who could get Europa League, let alone Champions League. And even Crystal Palace will all of a sudden not too far off. I think they're 6 points away from 5th. And then if you go to the bottom of the table, it would be really unfair on the likes of Norwich, Villa, etc., because they aren't that far away from escaping the relegation zone. So with what, about 8 games to go, I feel it would be very unfair just to take the points as they are. It would only really benefit Liverpool considering they're so far anyway. Like, we know they're going to win the league, but it's unfair on the rest of the leagues entirely. And then even if you go down to the Championship, there are so many teams competing for qualification and actually just straight up going into the Premier League next year that it's also a bit unfair to just say that Leeds and West Brom can come up, and then we'll just take the playoff places as they are. And then the final one, which is the one that's probably been talked about a lot recently, is the fact that there will be a 22-team Premier League next year, which is basically them saying that Liverpool's won the league and then Leeds and West Brom will be promoted, but no one relegated. Now, I think this is the most likely option. Again, obviously it comes with the negatives of the fact that they might not be the ones that would get promoted, and it's the same just going for the leagues down. However, it is looking like the most likely option at the moment. Now moving on to what I think the clubs will be doing in this period of no football and no sport in general. Well, I've already seen the likes of today, Southampton actually trying to play a noughts and crosses game with Norwich, who they were supposed to be playing today, which I think is incredible. It's a great thread. I'm going to show it right here. So I can imagine there'll be a lot of admin work having to be done over the next few weeks to try and keep their threads and feeds interesting as possible. And if it goes well, I think the admins will deserve a pay rise by the end of this, because to not have football to use over the next few weeks is going to be tough. And then we've also seen the likes of Aston Villa donating the food that they would have used, I think, for the hospitality or for their staff, etc. And they're donating those to the homeless. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot of these kind of patterns amongst the teams to try and make their social media present as big as possible and make them look as good as possible so that they can maintain a healthy growth over the next few weeks without the need for football. The one thing I'm not so sure about what they're going to do is training. Now, I know you've got the likes of Leicester and Arsenal who have their players contaminated in the team with the coronavirus, so they won't be training together at all. But if you take Spurs, for example, where at the moment there's no cases in the team, are they going to continue training together and then just be more proactive in their health and keeping clean and not coming across anyone at home? Will they be doing individual training? That I'm not too sure of yet, but I think we'll find out over the next coming days what the patterns are going to be like amongst the training within the teams. Now onto the big sporting companies. Now we're talking about Sky, BT and Amazon Video Sport. Those are probably the big three this year in the UK. What I think is going to happen, you're going to notice a lot of subscription losses over the next couple of months, because let's be honest, you're paying a lot of money per month to watch the football and for there not to be the football on. I think the Sky and BT will be clever enough to put in measures to stop people from doing that. They might say if you cancel now, you won't be able to get it back in however long. I don't know. They'll find a way to make people still pay even though there is no sport going on whatsoever. I think ESPN was showing to have bowling on and people go mental about that. So we'll see how that goes. The one thing that's going to be guaranteed is Sky showing reruns of old matches and putting the Premier League years on. And I feel like that will keep people entertained for a bit, but they'll probably end up going through the whole of them in one day. So I don't know what's going to happen in a few weeks' time. Now onto the topic that will affect me the most. How will content from football creators, that's vloggers, YouTubers, people on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, across all social media, how is their content going to change over the coming months? Because let's be honest, there's no football to vlog. There's not even any other sport that you could vlog. There's nothing really going to be live streamed for us to react to. Now, what I reckon will happen is there's going to be a lot more live streams on people's channels, and I think that will coincide with people playing a lot more games, most likely FIFA. I'll definitely see a rise in live streams amongst creators, because that will mean a lot less editing as well for most people. Not only that, I think there's going to be plenty of sit down ones like this, me and you giving our opinions about things. And I've got to give a massive shout out to Thogden and Stumpeg, to be fair, because they've been ahead of the game on this one. They've been doing tier lists, they've been doing their favorite players, top 5s, top 10s, all sorts of videos like this on a daily, which has seen them grow massively over the past year. So I think they're already a bit ahead of the game at the moment, but you'll be seeing a lot more creators doing that kind of content, and probably a lot of overlapping too. I guess the one good thing about it is it's forcing people to be a lot more creative, but with the fact that we can't really go anywhere to watch events or vlog out in a lot of public spaces, I think it's going to be quite difficult to show creativity when you're just at home. But I've got a few ideas up in my head, so make sure to stick around, subscribe down below to see what's going to be happening in this house over the next few weeks. And then finally, the one thing I think is going to grow massively is 100% TikTok. Now, for those of you that know me, I've already started doing mine. Some of them are doing pretty well, to be fair, but others not so much. But you're going to see a rise in people using TikTok over the next few weeks, because it's short form content. It's easier to make. It's a lot easier to go viral as well, because the algorithm is just so messed up right now. So I would definitely watch out for your favorite vlogger or creator, Twitter person joining TikTok, either using it to scroll through to be entertained or to actually create their own ones. And this is where the whole like,
oh, it's cringy, it's just girls dancing around,
that and the other, promise you, you're not watching TikTok if you think that's all it is. It might seem like that at first because that's what it just suggests everyone at first when you're first scrolling through the feed. But the more you use it, the more you actually interact with the videos that you think are funny. And trust me, there are a lot out there. There's a reason why celebs, footballers, all sorts of high key people are using the app right now. Once you filter through all of that, the algorithm literally gets rid of the content that you don't watch, only gives you the good stuff, and it becomes an honestly hilarious platform. So gonna see massive growth with that in the next few months. And to be honest with you, that's about it for me. That's what I see happening in the Premier League with the clubs, with big footballing companies and sports companies and the creators themselves. If I missed anything, please make sure to leave something down below or even give your opinion. What do you think you're gonna see? And not only that, please also give suggestions of the type of videos you would like to see us do, because God knows we're gonna need it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was a bit informative. And again, I've left links in the description below to make sure to educate yourself on the coronavirus and its spread and what we can do to help. So yeah, go check those out. Make sure to subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Peace.
No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know you